there's a gentleman who I've come to know over the years, who's based in Yemen, a gentleman by the name of Anwar, and he is a fantastically talented and smart guy, but doesn't have a coding background, doesn't have software development experience. So something that you may or may not know about Yemen, which I didn't know at the time, was that Yemen in 2014 got into a civil war that's been ongoing, for the last 6+ years. And as part of the civil war, one of the techniques that people have used has been to take out the other side's energy source, because that's a serious way to cripple them. If you take out their power plants, etc., it's hard for them to see, so on and so forth. It makes a lot of sense. So there was a big transition in Yemen, 2015, 2016, to solar power. So people actually had solar panels, and that way they didn't have to be reliant on an energy grid or a specific energy plant, and they could just manage their own energy. Yemen has a lot of sun. It's in a place that solar power is actually viable. So there was a big shift to solar power, but one thing that came up that was an issue was people didn't actually know, how do I manage my solar power? So how do I manage the panels? How do I tilt them during the day as the sun is going? If it comes to evening time, how can I check that I actually have enough power to get me through to the next day? And so this gentleman, Anwar, was one of the many Yemeni folks who was facing this problem. So he said, okay, why don't I build an app for that? There was no app for that. There was nobody really looking at this problem. There were people looking at the humanitarian crisis in Yemen, but weren't looking at the technology solutions that they needed. And so Anwar just, finds Thunkable after, looking online, Googles around, finds us. He says, okay, this looks like it can do what I need to. And again, as I said earlier, he said, hey, this is simple enough that I can use it, but powerful enough that it actually does what I need to, because he needed to plug into his Bluetooth to actually make sure he could communicate with the solar power, the solar panels, and so on and so forth. So he built an app on Thunkable in Arabic and in English, and posted it, launched it to the Play Store, and just used it for himself and his family and his friends. And pretty quickly, over 500,000 businesses and families in Yemen were using his app to actually manage their solar power. Not only that, but it actually really helped the country of Yemen with their energy needs, so much so that the Minister of Energy for the country actually sought out Anwar and gave him an award for the phenomenal work he did. Started being covered in the press, so on and so forth. And he's actually now built a relationship with one of the largest energy companies in Yemen, and he's working with them. And what's fun about this story is it's not just, it is a story about, social good, etc. And it's something that really, was a problem that sitting in Silicon Valley, we weren't looking at, we weren't solving. It wasn't something that I was aware of. But there was an entire country that was hurting, and by empowering Anwar and giving him the tools that he needed to solve his own problems, he was able to, in not that grandiose a statement, he was giving the country of Yemen light, right? He was giving them power, and that's so phenomenal. And not just that, but he built a business around it. It wasn't just a feel-good app. He actually has a business and an organization he's now running around this app that he made, which just started as an idea because he had a problem.